You ready? Okay.
All right, welcome to tonight's meeting. The Caldwell School Board. Today is February 10th, 2025. I now call this meeting to order. All right, we'll start with the roll call. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Trustee Trish Robertson. Here. Trustee Manuel Godina. Chairman Travis Manning.
Here.
Vice Chair Maricela Pacina.
Here.
And Trustee Andrew Butler.
Here. All right, will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, the approval of board meeting agenda postings. I will accept a motion to receive the clerk's agenda postings.
Chairman Travis Manning and trustees, I request the approval of the Board of Trustees regular board meeting and executive session agenda posting for Monday, February 10th, 2025. The agenda was posted on Friday, February 7th, 2025 at 4:15 p.m. The agenda was posted at the following locations: the Caldwell School District website and the Caldwell District office.
Can I get a motion to accept the posting?
Chairman Manning, I would like to make the first motion to approve the board meeting agenda postings.
Okay, a motion by Vice Chair Pacina. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Robertson, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, here. Okay, so we start with the information items first. Superintendent report, Dr. French.
Yes, thank you, Chairman Manning and trustees. So this evening, we've invited our History Day winners to be recognized. Last week, we Caldwell High School held History Day. We have Mr. Brennan Wertz here and Mrs. Wilson. So we just wanted to share some of the outstanding work that we saw last week.
Thank you, Dr. French, Mr. Chair, trustees. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about our 28th Annual National History Day competition that we had this last Wednesday at Caldwell High. The theme this year was Rights and Responsibilities, and we had 191 projects created by all of the juniors about a topic of their choice that fits in with this theme of rights and responsibilities. And we had a lot of really great feedback from the judges this year. We've have some judges that have done this for almost all those 28 years, and they said this was one of the best National History Days they'd seen, and that the quality of projects was very high across the board. And I think we as teachers felt so too, and felt the students did a really good job with a theme that was a little bit more difficult than in past years. So with me here tonight, I have two of our junior history teachers, Miss Caitlin Benavides and Miss Alex Lindsay. And then we also have our five of our top 6 finishers. So students, would you like to join me up here? Each of the judges selected a top project from about 8 projects that they judged. And those top projects were then judged a second time by a contingent of history professors from the College of Idaho. And these were the results. Juan Rosas Rangel with Yellow Journalism. Okay. Jackson Freeman and Ashley Fuller with the Cuban Missile Crisis. Jamie Lee Hernandez with Indian Citizenship Act of 1924. Those were our three honorable mentions. Then in third place, we had Maylee McConnell Soong with the annexation of Hawaii, but she could not be here tonight. In second place, we have Kason Obregon with the United Farm Workers. And then in first place, we have Yesenia Murillo and Melanie Velasquez with Mendez v. Westminster. So let's give them a round of applause.
Mr. Wirtz wanted me to speak about the fact that I'm a member of the Educator Advisory Council through the Historical Society here in Idaho this year. And we did a bunch of work in the summer to prepare for NHD, and how we were gonna kind of adjust to some new teachers teaching it, myself included, at the high school this year, and kind of dealing with a very complex theme, as Mr. Wirtz mentioned. And one of the things that I implemented for my students, and Yesenia Murillo and Melanie Velasquez are in my class, is I taught NHD as a whole unit separate from history curriculum. So they spent a dedicated 2 months working on their project, and getting to spend 100% of their time focused on their NHD product. And I believe that that really assisted in why the college professors chose their project as the winning project this year. We also had a ton more kids participate. Myself and the other teachers only had a couple students not complete a project, where in the past we have a lot more. So engagement this year was super high. Those of you who came and saw NHD saw again the high quality of projects, but also that the students were dressed really well. We got tons of feedback about how well they presented and how excited they were. And so we think that NHD is running super strong at Caldwell, and that the 28th year just means that we're moving forward even stronger.
Chairman Manning, may I?
Yeah, sure.
So
Sina.
are you, Ms. Benavides or Ms. Lindsay?
I missed this, sorry.
Benavides. Okay, all right. Okay, great. When I was there, everyone was dressed so amazingly professional, and I thought, oh, I wonder where those two little girls' projects at, because you guys were walking all over the place and I didn't know that you were teachers. And so I was like, oh, they're leaving their projects alone. You need to go back to your project. But yeah, that was great. That was awesome. Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have any questions for the presenters tonight?
No?
What happens next?
Dr. French, Mr. Chair, trustees, we are hosting at Caldwell High on February 22nd, that's Saturday, the district competition, the Southwest Idaho District competition at Caldwell High in the Ox Gym. And we had 15 students sign up for that, that will be competing against other schools in this area. Then from there, if they place there, they can go to the state competition at College of Idaho, which I think is April 5th. And they take the top 2 finishers from each category. So there's individual exhibits for people that did it on their own, and then a group exhibit for people that work together.
Oh, that's great. Chairman Manning, I gotta put a little sticker that says that. May I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was just gonna ask for the parents who are in the audience, todos los que están en el auditorio, ¿hablan inglés todos o no todos? No, no todos? Okay. So if I may just say something in Spanish, just kind of like,
Sí.
sí, okay, thank you. No sé si, me imagino que sus hijos les han dicho que este es un programa que hacen todos los años del Día de la Historia, y ellos escogen un tema que tiene que ver con los derechos de las personas y las responsabilidades de las personas, y es algo que nomás en Caldwell High School is the only one that does National History Day this way, correct?
That's right.
Okay, so somos la única escuela, la secundaria, que hacemos estos proyectos. Ninguna otra escuela secundaria hace los proyectos así y son como 199 proyectos, o sea, todos los niños que están del grado 11 son los que están participando en esto. Y estos son los ganadores, los que están aquí enfrente de nosotros y para mí es un gusto porque miro muchos temas que nos aplican a nosotros, como los trabajadores agricultores, cómo ganamos un caso de los niños que no querían que fueran a la escuela en California porque eran mexicanos y otras cositas que están aquí, los indios nativos, cómo también pelearon por sus derechos. So, es muy interesante, pero queremos darles las gracias a ustedes por apoyar a sus hijos y ojalá comprarles. Si no le tuvieron que comprar material de perdido, les estaban echando lonche para que fueran a la escuela y continuaran con sus proyectos. So, estamos muy agradecidos con ustedes, pero más que nada nos da mucho gozo con sus hijos que han hecho un trabajo muy bueno que fue juzgado por no solamente jueces aquí en la escuela, pero los jueces también fueron del colegio de College of Idaho que determinaron quién eran los ganadores y sus hijos fueron los ganadores. So, muchas gracias por ustedes y por el apoyo que le dan a sus hijos. So I'm just saying thank you for supporting your children and, you know, the topic gives rights and responsibilities and they may have not had to buy many of the projects, but they fed the kids so that they could keep working on their projects. So thank you. Thank you, Chairman Manning.
Absolutely. Dr. French, anything else?
Picture.
Picture, okay.
Oh.
All right, come up and join us for a picture if you would. Students and teachers, we'd love to have you.
Get on, yeah.
They scored over here.
I know, don't hit your knee. It's kind of-
Okay.
Scoot up. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Can you see everybody?
I think so. There we go. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Un momento, todavía no se muevan porque la señora.
You get it.
Si quieren acercarse, también se pueden acercar. Mira. Sí. When you're famous, this is what happens, guys. Okay.
All the paparazzi. Congratulations.
Okay. Okay, let me.
All right. Next on our agenda is Mr. Nick Mendez from Caldwell High School, our student representative, and I believe this evening he has a video because he is attending a student function this evening. Ms. Watts. How do you want to do it? Okay.
Good evening, Chairman, trustees, Dr. French. My name is Nick Mendez, and I'm really excited to give you guys the board report for Caldwell High School for February 2025. My apologies for not being here, present right there in the boardroom, but I'm really excited to be able to give this presentation to you guys through this video. As always, I want to give you guys an agenda First, I'm going to give you guys a class highlight, and I'm going to talk a little bit about cheerleading, basketball, and wrestling. And then lastly, I'm going to start explaining a little bit about different school events going on at Caldwell High. First off, I want to give you guys the class highlight. I'm highlighting political philosophy. This is the advanced government class that seniors are able to take, and it's taught by our very own Mr. Hauge. This class is a really special class because it is a seminar-based class, meaning that it's very driven by discussions. The students are required to read and then bring in questions. I'm currently taking this class, and it's one of my favorite classes I've ever taken. I really like how it challenges me intellectually, how it makes me think about human nature and politics in very unique ways. And you know, if you guys had Mr. Hauge, which I know a few of you guys have, you'll know that he really challenges you, pushes you, and overall that you're really able to learn as a student. And it's a great class to take as a senior. Also, an important part of this class is that the students get to take a trip over to the Capitol and meet with different people that are working there, serve there, so they're able to ask questions and understand how that government system works after learning about it all throughout the year. So we haven't taken that trip yet, but I'll let you guys know how that all goes once that happens. Now I want to talk a little bit about sports. So first up, amazing news. Our cheerleading team has become the district champions back to back. So they recently competed this past Saturday, just against all the other schools in the district, and they are district champions. They won it last year as well. So it's great to see that the program is still going strong, and we're excited to see them go on to state. Next, I want to talk a little bit about our basketball team. So the girls have been doing very well. They recently had their senior night, and it was against Skyview. And the really special part about it is the amount of people that came to support. The student council was doing their rockathon that day, so it was a great student turnout, but then also so many friends and family were there to support the players, and they all did incredible. The Frosh and JV won their games, and although varsity did lose, it was an amazing game to just watch. And another special shout out for the girls team is that they recently won their district game against Valley View High School. So that is something that should really be applauded for. So congrats to them. For the boys, they have also been doing very well this season, and they have their senior night coming up this Thursday against Valley View. So we know that that's going to be a very competitive game, having that crosstown rivalry. Wrestling has also been doing very well. They recently had their senior night against Rocky Mountain and had a great turnout from students, from friends, and from family. The boys team, boys varsity, did win their match, and it was great being able to see them compete and really see how competitive and spirited they are. And then the girls varsity team sadly did lose, but they put up an amazing fight. I've talked about this before, but we've been going against 6A schools. So we all know Rocky Mountain has a very competitive wrestling program, but Caldwell High School is still able to show up and do very well. They have their district competition coming up soon, taking place at the Ford Idaho Center. And if we know anything about our wrestling team, we know that they're very likely going to go to state and do very well. So keep a lookout for that. Next, I want to talk about some school events at Caldwell High School. Caldwell High School recently had their National History Day. I won't talk too much about it because I know Mr. Wirtz is going to be at the meeting and you're going to be able to talk to the students that competed themselves. But overall, this was one of, if not the best National History Day we've had at Caldwell High School. I also want to talk about the CHS Expo. I'll talk about the CHS Expo. We recently had our CHS Expo night, and it was an opportunity for clubs and activities and sports to recruit interested students. So they invited the middle schoolers, so the 8th graders at Syringa, to learn about these programs and see what they're really interested in, but also having those Caldwell High School, mainly underclassmen, being able to talk with groups that they're interested in was also a really great time. And speaking with different group leaders, everyone had a really good time, and it seems like this was a great success. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what is going to be going on at Caldwell High School this week, which is Cause Week. So as you guys may know, Caldwell High School Student Council puts on Cause Week, which is an event where we choose 5 different causes and we raise money for them through our Rockathon, but also through our Penny Wars. So Penny Wars is an opportunity for the classes to compete against each other to see who could earn the most points. They get points by bringing in pennies, but then they lose points by other classes putting in silver coins and dollar bills into their cabinet that is in the lunchroom. So this year, we are raising money for the St. Luke's Children's Hospital, Advocates Against Family Violence, Pancreatic and Liver Cancer Awareness, Suicide Prevention, and Breast Cancer Awareness. We really hope that you guys show up on our assembly on Friday. It's going to be taking place from 12:24 to 1:24. And it's a really, really fun assembly where we get to present the checks from the money that we raised to these organizations. But then also, we get to have fun teacher incentives. So the teachers get to do challenges depending on how much money we do end up raising. So we hope to see you guys there. And that's all I have to present for you guys today. I really hope that this gives you a good wrap up of what Caldwell High School's been up to. And thank you guys for listening.
Okay, we appreciate Nick, even though he wasn't gonna be here, he still wanted to be here. So we appreciate his dedication.
We'll put them in the Caldwell High Library.
Chairman Manning, I have a question if I may.
Sure, Vice Chair Pacino.
Okay, I wanted to ask, the principal, Miss Wilson, I was wondering for Cause Week, because I know, and we just mentioned about how our cheerleaders won, districts for the second or, second time or third time in a row. Would it be possible for them to do their cheers that they won at Cause Week? I know that, time is limited and all that, but, we don't, I try to get to all the football games. I try to get to some of the basketball games and we never get to see them, do those amazing performances. So do you think that maybe we could see them at the assembly?
Trustee Pacina, we've talked about having them perform at our spring assembly. I'm not sure about Cause Week because it's a longer assembly. I will ask Mrs. Arnold, though, if there's time.
Okay,
It's a longer assembly
Mhm.
and they have the other people in to present the checks. And they cut the hair and they do, they have all the
Yeah.
activities, but if there's time, they could, but we did talk about having them at our spring assembly when we do all of the spring sports.
okay. And you'll let us know when the spring assembly is, because I really want to watch
It's a
it.
Great
live.
dynamic performance,
Mhm,
yeah, their
yeah.
show performance is very
Okay.
dynamic,
I
yeah.
would love to watch it live, so, okay.
you.
Thank you, Chairman Manning.
All right. Canyon Springs High School, Maxwell Peterson. Love to have you. Thanks for coming.
Well, I can't tell. Is this thing working? I suppose it is then. Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board and Dr. French. Welcome back to the Canyon Springs News Report. Our top story this month, IndyCar legend Stingray Robb came to speak about who he was and in his expertise, explain the dangers of intoxicated driving and the value of responsible choice making. Stingray Robb, real name Stingray Robb, has been a professional car driver all his life, with his experience in IndyCar, NASCAR, and all sorts. He knows very well about the dangers of driving, not only because of his profession, but also because of personal experience. His cousin actually was convicted in a drunk driving accident, 2 passengers killed and sentenced to 15 years paroled. In Robb's own words on the matter, there is no such thing as a least intoxicated driver. When asked to state the most valuable takeaway from his speech, he said, "Your choices matter. What you choose is affecting what you're becoming, so choose well." Moving along, a WireTech meeting occurred on the 17th. As I'm sure you're aware, WireTech is a Wyoming-based vehicle mechanic technical college, which has pretty much annual meetings to offer enrollment to the students of our school. The turnout was decent and WireTech will be coming again next week. A grant from the Idaho Lottery has given our school $1,391 towards much needed supplies of 600 backpacks and 30 scientific calculators. We are very grateful for their donation. The The student council, in the aim of raising money for a prom by the end of the year, have been hosting a variety of events like a popcorn Friday on the 21st of January, where students could purchase popcorn for $1 and excess was handed out for free, and an upcoming Valentine's Day candygram service to give candy and silly notes to those you care about. Last week was Counselor Appreciation Week. So we gave a huge thank you to our school counselor, Miss Heather Ballantyne, by decorating our hall corkboard with, as you can see, reasons we love our counselor. And we appreciate all the work all school counselors do for this society. The school wrapped up the last of its Seeker testing today with the science section. The math and English sections were previously wrapped up on the 22nd. In upcoming news, a college fair will be held at Canyon Springs High School on the 13th, where Idaho colleges are coming to meet with our students. On the 19th, Canyon Springs will be traveling to Caldwell High School to join in their career fair. And on the 21st, our science teacher, Mr. Scoville, will be hosting a field trip to the Boise State University School of Engineering Material Science building to listen to top field researchers and tour the facilities. I'd like to introduce a new segment, the Canyon Springs Class Highlight, where we bring awareness to the quality academic work being done day to day by our staff and students. Our first class highlight will be Forensics with Mr. Scoville. A new course this year, Forensics is a science class that applies several science subjects, including chemistry, physics, and anthropology, and applies them in real-world situations by imitating crime scenes. As well as science, the class also teaches good observation skills and evidence collection skills. From ballistics, blood spatter patterns, and fibroanalysis, the class is quite thorough. And apparently it exemplifies the new cross-cutting concept teaching style. Just some of the quality work being done at Canyon Springs. Finally, the credit update. Since the last update on the 13th, Canyon Springs has earned 144 new credits for a total of 1,144. Fantastic work all around. That's the last of the news. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and thank you for your time.
Okay, trustees, any questions for Maxwell?
Okay, Chairman Manning, I have some questions for our liaison, Maxwell. So, one of my first questions was, can anybody buy the Valentine's, can anybody participate in your fundraiser for the Valentine's?
Any student.
Okay, but you're not gonna take my money? Come on, Maxwell, I know you want the money.
You might have, yeah.
Maybe okay, I'll ask the principal to see if I can help out. Okay, and then, the forensics class, you said that it was almost full? Is that what you said?
Hmm?
Yeah,
For
Mr. Scoville's forensic class?
I don't actually know how many people are in the forensics
okay.
class.
Do you think it's popular? Do you think?
I'd assume so. Who wouldn't want to like research this stuff?
Right? Okay. And every time you were saying something about the forensics class, I was just in my mind, all these shows were popping up, like, Dexter's and blood
Yeah.
splatter and all that stuff. That was like really cool.
In my interview with Mr. Scoville,
Uh-huh.
he actually talked about what the end of quarter project will be. And he's gonna have all the students create a diorama of famous crime scenes.
Oh, wow.
So they get to place all the little bits of evidence and where it
Uh-huh.
was found, so you get a better picture of what happened.
Well, that's cool. Okay. Well, thank you, Maxwell. I appreciate your report. We appreciate your report. Thank you.
Maxwell, I've got a quick question for you. I was curious about the 600 backpacks.
$600.
Oh, 600.
No. It was $1,391 towards 600 backpacks and 30 scientific calculators.
Yeah, so what are the backpacks for? I'm just curious.
Oh,
If you know. And maybe,
well, Caldwell, Canyon Springs has a policy of needing clear backpacks. And a lot of students still, clear backpacks are kind of difficult to find, so the school will often provide backpacks for the students.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the trustees?
Yeah, it was this picture.
Okay, good to know.
Aye.
Thank you, Maxwell.
Okay, we move on to agenda item number 6, the consent agenda. The board may take action to approve, deny, amend, modify, or postpone action on any of the items listed below. The board will be asked to approve all of the following items by a single vote unless any member of the board asks that an item be removed from the consent agenda and considered and discussed. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Chairman Manning, I would like to pull out letter F, Child Nutrition Services Lunchtime Pizza. If we could,
Okay.
okay.
Any other items the trustees want to see pulled for further discussion? Okay, seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda minus item F?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda, items A through E.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And now we move to item number 7, where we will discuss item number F, Child Nutrition Services Lunchtime Pizza, Vice Chair Pacina.
Okay, thank you. I'm excited that we're gonna have pizza. We're gonna have pizza again, right? That's what it is, yeah. And it's not so much, I hadn't, well, maybe I have a one little small question, but cheese and pepperoni, right? And my only question, and if you could explain or elaborate, I saw that in the paperwork, it said that Caldwell High School would have pizza every day, but Cane Springs is only on Friday. So how did that decision come about? Or I'm all about, you know,
Oh,
everybody.
absolutely,
Mhm.
and I'm sorry, I would have been more prepared, Natalie. Ms. Gibson is on vacation this week.
Oh, okay.
But I hate to misrepresent it because
Right.
it had to do with the school,
Mhm.
but if we could table it and I could bring an answer
Yeah,
back to you.
yeah, that would be great. Mhm.
I know when they went through the bid process, they mapped it out a little bit, but I think that she consulted with the building principals. So I really.
And I'm sure they probably all made they all agreed on what they were gonna do.
Right.
I was just wondering how it came
Yeah.
to that. Okay.
I apologize. I really
Okay.
can't answer that.
Yeah, and I just thought,
I hate to speculate and be incorrect on.
yeah, and I apologize for not asking the question before so that you'd be prepared, but I saw it today and I was like reading it and going, oh, what are they gonna serve? And that's when I saw that, but okay. And then, so I saw that the pizzas are good, because I gotta get prepared, right, with my money with the kids. So I saw that the pizzas are $8 and so are they gonna be sold separately or is it through the lunch line?
It is actually provided as part of the lunch line.
Oh, okay.
Because it does meet the requirements of
Mhm.
reimbursable lunch as long as they have
Mhm.
milk and a fruit.
Oh, awesome.
with it
So
too.
it'll
And
be
I
one of their
believe
options.
Ms. Wilson is here. She'd like to speak to the process.
Oh.
But I think it's been quite successful.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So is it gonna be, do they go through the lunch line or is it gonna be like a little, like what they used to have like, yes?
It's a.
Yeah.
Chairman Manning, trustee, I have to get used to what I
Vice
call
Chair.
you. Vice Chair Pacina. So we have started serving pizza. We've been doing it for a few weeks and
Okay.
the students love it. The first few days, they couldn't believe that they had pizza. They thought they were royalty. They thought they were like going to BK or something. They thought they made comments like that. They just thought they were so special. And so they couldn't believe that they get it every day and that it's free for them. So they were very excited and it's still very popular. So we have a line for pizza and they go through and they get a slice of pizza. They get their fruit or vegetable or salad or whatever they're serving that day. They get milk and that's their meal. And then they can go through the main line, or they can get a cheeseburger or sandwich or whatever is on the other line. So it's part of just like the school lunch line they go through. And it does have, it meets the healthy school lunch requirements. So it is a little bit different than going out for pizza, probably.
Mhm.
But it tastes great, and it's
So
it's
far,
like regular pizza.
so far has it, have you guys run out? I mean, is there an option to where if you need to order more, you could? Or-
So they come in because we have two
Mhm.
lunches, so they
Mhm.
come in two waves for us.
Mhm.
And so we can adjust that second one if it's a certain time frame, or if we needed more or less. There was a time when we had the day where there was low attendance.
Uh-huh. Okay.
We needed to adjust it, but it was too late to adjust. There were some communication gaps there with our lunch workers.
Mhm.
And so we were able to kind of address that and work around it. But so there is some time to adjust there. It comes in two waves for us. But I don't think we've probably run out. And then there's been some days where there's a little bit left over at the end of second lunch. So, but they're pretty good at getting the right count there.
Okay.
So there's usually just about the right amount. So, yeah, they're pretty experienced with getting that right on.
Thank you. Like I said, I pulled it just because I want to talk about
Yeah,
it.
the
'cause I
students
think
really
the
like it.
kids love
Yes,
Yeah,
we've been doing it for a couple weeks and it's very popular. Yes.
good. That was a good move. Thank you.
Yes, they love it. Thank you.
Vice Chair Messina.
Yes.
One thing we're excited to see is if it increases our participation. We're hoping that it's something
Yes.
that will keep kids that may have left in the past,
Mm-hmm.
that will keep them there. So once it runs for a few weeks, we'll be able to track it and see if we see any.
Right, yeah. Or that, they don't eat because,
Right.
yeah.
There's nothing they want.
Yeah,
They'll- they go to
exactly.
the vending.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, great. Thank you. Whoever idea that was.
Chairman Manning and trustees, so Natalie wanted to pilot this to see if students if it would be something that they would like. I think she's done some taste tests with different pizza companies. And so what you have before you is the company that felt that they could meet this requirement and make sure that pizzas were delivered to the schools in the quantity as requested. So that's what you have before you, but I do believe it was piloted first and taste tested out first prior.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, any other questions about the Child Nutrition Services lunchtime pizza agenda item?
Chairman Manning, I would like to move to approve the Child Nutrition Services lunchtime pizza item.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Butler with a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Information items, plant facility reports. Dr. French, how do you want to tackle that?
Chairman Manning, Mrs. Sanderson is here to speak to the report.
Okay. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. As you know, Bernie is out this evening, so I can certainly address any questions that you have. What he wanted to make sure that you understood and appreciate is how we're moving along, specifically on this building and Indian Creek Academy next door. We're working on finalizing the final drafts of the contract, but in the meantime, based off your agreements at the last board meeting with the letter of intent that they've already started prepping and getting in position to start working on the alarms and the fire system. Really focusing on that deadline, to get everything done on the buildings. Wrapping up the HVAC at the high school gym and auditorium. They're mostly working up on the roof on the walkways that provide them access. That should be wrapping up. Syringa, the HVAC and the electrical improvements, working with the structural engineers on that project. As we know from the facilities group, that's extensive and going to be a great part of how we're going to use our House Bill 521 monies. On that, so that's moving ahead. Lincoln Elementary, or the district office, we're just wrapping up the reception area as well as finishing the roof on the annex building. We're really, he's spending a lot of time obviously right now with grounds and snow removal and such, but keeping on top of work orders and working with the buildings on their plant facility projects, using some of the projects they have at each of the schools. But I think that, you know, we're pretty excited about the work getting started on this building still in the month of February. It should give us some cushion on meeting our dates for this summer. So, you have any questions, Chairman Manning or trustees?
Any questions for Ms. Sanderson?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ms. Anderson, I was just wondering if there was any significant or major damage from the recent snow and freezing or ice or anything, if there's any changes.
No, I think they, you know, discovered a few minor leaks, but I don't think anything, Superintendent French, if that, you know, as we cross our fingers, obviously it's the biggest challenge is usually our parking lots. We had that kind of wet Friday after the big snow, and they were able to get most of it cleared off before the freeze hit. And I think that was instrumental. We are running out of ice melt. So I know there's pallets coming in to.
And I
keep
would
on top of
just say,
that.
I'm just gonna add, Chairman Manning and trustees, that there were two trees, or
Oh,
two
yes,
trees that
the
were
trees
damaged
that-
at Sacagawea. One will have to be completely removed, and there's a pine tree that
Mhm.
created some problems, the weight of the snow. And then we also had a large juniper tree at Caldwell
At the
High
high
that
school.
did not survive the moisture, you know, the wetness, the heaviness of the snow. So they're working to try to get those removed.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Manning, I just had a,
Chair Pacino.
because we were talking about potholes. I just want to say, it's Sacagawea, in the parking lot, that's the one closest to the cemetery. Sometimes parents go in and drop off the kids, right there in the playground. But there's some really big potholes. And I'm sorry, I apologize. I was gonna text you and I thought, oh, no, we're talking about it. And,
We'll pass that on. We can
okay,
always get
thank
it
you.
filled up.
Mhm, thank you.
I don't think that was resurfaced.
No, I don't think so, but yeah, okay. Mhm.
Yeah, you can, oh, I'm sorry,
Can I say something really quick?
Chairman Manning.
The history students.
History student, sure.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I thought I was gonna get my chance. I thought other people were gonna talk about their board,
Oh,
and they didn't, but I just want to talk a little bit, more about my board. So. Okay, there we go. Okay, so, hello, good evening. Now, my name is Juan Rosas Rango. I'm a junior, who participated in NHD. So NHD basically stands for National History Day. National History Day is an annual academic competition for junior students at our school at Caldwell. It encourages students to conduct historical research on a topic of their choice related to an annual theme. Participants present their research on a treefold board, which is this. And like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit more about my project. So I chose my theme as yellow journalism. Yellow journalism refers to a style of newspaper. This style of newspaper includes exaggeration to attract readers and increase sales. The journalists prioritize eye-catching headlines and dramatic stories to attract attention. And so yeah, I just wanted to show you guys my board. I thought they mentioned that we were probably gonna talk about it, but like I said, they didn't give us the opportunity, so I just wanted to get that out there and show you guys about my board, and yeah.
yes.
Okay, nicely done, Juan. Thanks
Chairman
for
Manning?
speaking up.
Yeah.
Vice Chair Pacino.
Yes, I have one quick question. Why did you pick this topic?
Why did I pick this topic? So our history teacher, Boynton, she gives us
well, we had to match a certain theme, which the theme of this year, like Words was saying, was rights and responsibilities. So she gives us a big list, a big website filled with projects we could do, possible projects we could do. And so she gives us this assignment, saying like 3 possible projects. We had to do research on those 3 possible projects, but I picked this one because we had a unit in class that we learned about it, and so I thought it was pretty interesting. It's really crazy how the way I think it's really crazy the way that we actually still use it like as everyday life. Like right now, the biggest thing related to yellow journalism is with our president right now. I also included, I don't know if you guys could that image right there of our president. Right now, it's one of the most biggest topics related to yellow journalism is with our president. So I thought it was really cool. We still use it today. And another really cool thing was that this yellow journalism, actually caused a war, the Spanish-American War. So I thought that was really cool as well. So that's why I picked this topic.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
excellent.
Thank you so much. And you guys have a great night.
That's a lot of hard work. Thank you for coming in, Juan.
Thank you for coming, yeah, for coming back.
Idaho?
So actually, I never heard about that. So when I heard Words talking about that, I'm gonna tell him tomorrow morning, once I get to school, I'm gonna try to get there a little early tomorrow morning and tell him about that, because I never heard about that. So I definitely wanna, do that. So yeah, I'm gonna for sure go tomorrow morning and talk to Words about that, if I still can join. If not, then it's okay, but.
No, really.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease. Do it.
You tell them that
Do
we
it.
said no.
Advocate for yourself. That's so great. It's an important skill.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you
Okay,
guys' time. and
thank you for coming
Yeah,
back.
thank you.
Mhm. Okay, bye-bye. That was,
Okay, CSD calendar and important dates. You can check that out. And I believe we're moving on to patron inputs. Madam Clerk, do we have any patron input this evening for any agenda items? We do not. Okay,
May I just?
Vice
Chairman
Chair
May?
Pacino.
Yeah, I think there is just one that was a written one. It was in an email, but it's on the policy for artificial intelligence. And then we'll probably, you maybe mention it when we get to the policy.
Okay, did we have a couple? It seems like we had 2 or 3 maybe.
Yeah, I've been just getting them and sending them to you as I.
Oh, okay.
I received them, so.
Okay, so that we can,
Assembly, and then they get sent to me, and then I make sure to share them with you guys, so.
So the question is, do we share them publicly? And if so, when do we share them? Under the patron input section, do we share them there for the policy section?
I know that we would, when we would get the letters, we would read them.
Yeah, Chairman Manning and trustees, so most of the input has been great idea to have the golden pass. So it's all been of just positive support. Yes, so I'm not sure if you want Ms. Watts to just share what people, their
Briefly summarize.
statements at the bottom of a I don't know if they're asking for public input. It's not, hi, I want to speak to. They've just given some feedback on a first reading, which everyone has an opportunity to tell us like for something in a first reading. I don't know if we've ever made that a public input, but we can list what they've said, just taking their comments. I don't know if they're not asked to do the same things as a public input.
Looks like they put their name and their email.
Email. So no home address. We don't ask for those things, I don't believe on that. Is that correct? Yeah,
Yes.
but we can sure share, but we want to make sure you're hearing the first reading, public input. I don't know, we can list it out and figure out how to do that. So that,
Well, trustees, what would you like to see?
Chairman Manning, sometimes I like this particular one about AI. This particular person, I believe she's an educator, but her comments were very positive of the reason why. I mean, I can see if folks say that's a great idea, but sometimes, just letting the community know the reasons why, like even with the Golden Pass, that it helps the elderly, come to the games, or if they're on a limited income. And we have to remember too, the elderly are part of our community and we want to embrace them, have them come so they have something to do. But, this one within artificial intelligence, I think her point on this was, to let people know that, because like I said, she's an educator, and I believe what she's trying to say is, people say artificial intelligence, it's like all this made up, made up people, made up pictures, made up this, made up that. But it's important for people to know that in the classroom, a lot of this is done in class with the supervision of a teacher. And it's an in-class assignment with intentional monitoring. And I think that takes away sometimes the fear of, or, when people think, what's going on? They're gonna teach our kids how to do fake stuff, And that's that, for people that don't know a lot about artificial intelligence. And it's the same as like when we were trying to, when the internet came up, we're like, oh, the internet, we don't want it, but we have to get in front of it so that we don't stay behind as far as like educating our kids, what like AI is and how it's useful and how we can use it in the correct form.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments from the trustees?
Mr. Chairman, I guess
Trustee Butler.
without understanding all the intricacies of how we're getting these, if they don't meet the same criteria as public input, then to me, it's more of the unsolicited emails, that we would get. And so we don't always share everything that we receive in terms of emails and things like that. So I guess that's my only hesitation is we don't always talk about everything that we receive, even though we all receive it. But if it doesn't meet the same criteria as a public input or public patron input, then maybe we don't.
Or maybe we leave it up to the judgment of the trustees, like if there's something you want to summarize or something or quote, I suppose you could for patron input. I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah, because we did change a lot of our stuff a few years ago saying that, that there was a method for them to, to address it. And do we ask for their address?
On the.
At least if they live in the school district,
On the written,
because I know that that's how, we've told folks, if you have public patron input on policies or anything, go to this site, and this is where, you would express, what you want on a policy or, and I would, go ahead.
Sorry, we have, on our website, if you go to hover over the homepage, there's school board public comments, and that, requires you to put in your address as well. But I believe on Assembly, I think that's how these patrons were sending their input, was through Assembly, and maybe we can mess around with that and see if there is like an address part where you can include that as well.
Chairman Manning and trustees, what we will do is as we look at those, I met with Ms. Watts. We talked about making sure that we do a great blitz, media blitz, and inviting people for the Golden Pass in the fall to make sure people know that's available, because that's what we heard most when we were receiving the input, was like, I didn't even know you did this sort of thing. And then any other input, we'll share, we wanted to share it with you, but it'll go back to policy committee if there's something that's people are feeling like, I don't really, how are we even, how can you even have a policy that looks like that, or whatever it might be. You may see, we can, and then something to discuss here. Yeah, I'm just trying to think the best way to handle that public input.
yeah, me too. That's what I'm trying to think. The trustees have any other thoughts on receiving public input and on which topics and which means, which avenues, doesn't matter? I don't know. Of course it matters, but just how do we, maybe we think about that.
How it comes in.
We can,
I remember when, Chairman Manning.
Yeah.
I remember when, like when we were receiving those and we asked, I would ask the board clerk, do I need to read the whole thing? But, she would say, no, I'm gonna give you all of them, just summarize like what the main point is, and then we'll go to the next one. And but that was on input for policy or input. And this is what this looks like for that policy of the AI. And that's why that's why I was bringing it up.
Sure, and I'm Chairman Manning and trustees.
But things. have-
When we did receive that input, that was for the board, that's your input. So you're receiving that. I know that we looked at another school district, they did take the written input and they just had it listed along with the minutes. Anything that came, it's not that they read it out loud, but they just had it as listed along with their minutes on their agenda. I think that was Blaine County. So that's something we could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of being transparent and allowing the public to speak. There are some school districts that are not quite as transparent in my view. And so I think if we can err on the side of transparency, that's probably better.
Okay.
Any other comments, thoughts from the trustees?
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable option is just to show the public that, you know, these are the things that we were basing the decision off of, even though it wasn't read in the meeting at the time, you know, we had it at the time. So I think that's a good compromise.
Okay, that sounds fine to me. Trustee Robertson, any thoughts? Okay, thanks for your honesty. Short and sweet. Okay. I believe we are at the regular agenda. Item A, impacted attendance February 3rd, 2025. Dr. French.
Yes, Chairman Manning, this is in regards to the poor attendance on February 3rd. And we are not sure if political unrest will be accepted by the State Department of Education State Board, but we still wanted to share with them that our attendance that day was 65%. That was the day of the United Hispanic Group in regards to the immigration and their protest against that. We just had a very poor attendance that day. So we just liked it. We do have to have your approval to submit it. I don't know if it will be approved by the State Board or State Department.
Dr. French, so just to be clear, so what can you tell us just a little bit more about what the protest was?
That's a lot. I don't know the whole protest. I just know that the Hispanic community came together to share their concern about the new practice in regards to immigration. And they had asked their fellow community members to unite, take a stand on the 3rd, which there's several businesses owned by Hispanic business owners were closed that day. We had a poor attendance that day. We were made aware of that could possibly be the case. We knew that across the nation, there were marches and protests of the way this was being dealt with at a national level. So that's my only knowledge of that. Sorry.
Chairman Manning?
Vice Chair Pacino.
Yes. But the most important thing is can you explain to us, Dr. French, why this is necessary? Like, you know, how does not coming to school or not having kids impact the district? And so why this form, we're sending it to the state, but why are we doing that?
Chairman Manning and Vice Chair Pacino and trustees. So as you are aware, we are paid on an average daily attendance rate. So when students aren't in school, the state bases what we receive in funding based on their attendance. And so we're asking for a reprieve from this day because of the low attendance.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the trustees? Do I have a motion to approve the impacted attendance item on the agenda?
Chairman Manning, I would like to make a motion to approve the impacted attendance request with the state regarding the low attendance on February 3rd, 2025.
Okay, motion by trustee Robertson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Pacina. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item B, emergency closure 27 February 7th, 2025. Dr. French.
Chairman Manning and trustees, so we had a snow day last Friday. And I know some of us who have lived in areas where that they may not understand why you would have a snow day. We did have Eric, Mr. Phillips and Bernie were out, CTC was out. They had not started plowing. It was wet, heavy snow. There was concerns about travel. And then the districts around us where many of our teachers live were closing. And so we were feeling we could see that this was not going to go well. And so we felt that it would be in the best interest of the district to have a snow day, which we do have to have permission to cancel a day of school from the state. So that's what this is asking for, is to let them know we had an emergency closure day. We did notice that they did start plowing around 9 a.m, the main arteries. So it just takes a while, and then if it warms up, snow melts and everything's great. But it's that early morning getting that start and doing it safely. We just didn't feel it was not in our best interest. So that's what this is, an emergency closure.
Okay, any questions from the trustees?
I have a question, Chairman Manning. I'm gonna be you now, okay? So, yeah. But let us know, Dr. French, we already schedule a few days, right? So it's not like we have them scheduled so that we make sure we reach our education hours and all that good stuff.
Yeah, Chairman Manning and Vice Chair Pacina and trustees. So yes, we have a minimum number of hours. The class or group of students that we are most concerned about when we have to have an emergency closure is our senior class. So we do have built into our schedule in case we should get too close to not having enough hours, is a day in April, which you'll see is a day off. It's a day of no school, but if we needed to, we would hold school that day to make up for these hours in case our seniors are not going to make. I mean, we need to make sure that we follow state law, which is that they have a minimum number of hours. So we do have a cushion.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Trustee Weller.
Can I ask a follow-up to that, Dr. French? So with asking for the emergency closure from the state, does that kind of exempt those hours? Or, so in case we were close, then, so we're making up, so what? Sorry, I can't talk tonight. So if we were to close unexpectedly, then we would lose those hours, but in submitting this emergency closure to the state, then it allows that buffer and we don't actually lose those hours of instruction.
If I remember correctly. So Chairman Manning and Trustee Butler, the state allows for an 11 hours of a buffer that they will give us grace on. So, but we have to also report because it's changed our calendar. We said we would, when we sent this to the state, we said we would be in school at this time, and this was the instructional hours for that day. So it does change those instructional hours, and then they do give us grace to a certain amount.
Okay.
But we do need to report it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any further questions about the emergency closure? All right, I'll take a motion to approve the emergency closure on February 7th.
Chairman Manning, I move that we approve the emergency closure on February 7th, 2025.
Okay, motion by trustee Robertson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Butler, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Item C, resolution for the transfer of real property regarding the pathway at Cobble High and Brothers Park. Dr. French.
Thank you, Chairman Manning. So this is in regards to the MOU we signed with the city on the pathway. As per our legal requirement, we need to have the board approve a resolution for this transfer of property.
Okay, any questions for Dr. French about the resolution regarding the transfer of real property? And the memorandum of understanding between the city of Caldwell and the developer and the Caldwell School District. All right, can I get a motion to approve the resolution?
Chairman Manning, I would like to move that we approve the resolution for the transfer of the real property, which we have discussed in detail. Yes, thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Robertson with the second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the resolution passes. Okay, item D, report on January 27th, 28 professional developments. I believe that is Mrs. Lankin.
Chairman Manning, trustees, good evening. 2 weeks ago, I shared with you the agenda for our Winter Institute that occurred on January 27th and 28th. At that time, I also shared with you that I would be doing a follow-up Google form for all the attendees, which I just wanted to give you an update tonight to let you know that that's been completed. The Google form was about 8 or 9 questions, and it included things such as we look ahead to Winter Institutes in the future, what in your opinion would be a good time to schedule that? Like, where should it land on the calendar? Options included things like the beginning or end of semester 1, beginning or end of semester 2. And the top 2 choices were, the beginning of September, the beginning of semester 2, which is where it was placed this year as well as next year for the 25-26 calendar. And then a close second to that was the beginning of the first semester. However, like general comments included, it would be great to, whether it's held at the beginning of either semester 1 or 2, that there's sort of some time to take what they've learned and put it into implementation, rather than when we've done it at Summer Institute where they've had the summer to plan, but then they didn't really like get their hands dirty with it in the classroom. So some other feedback associated with the timing included, it would be great to schedule it at the end of the week, Thursday and Friday. Weirdly, but happily, staff felt like their brain was in overload after the second day. And so then to come in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday and teach class, some reached out, and I appreciate that very much, to say that they would love to have it at the end of the week to kind of just give some mental digestion as they head into the next week. And so with that said, I looked at our calendar for the 25-26 school year, and Winter Institute is scheduled for Thursday, Friday of next year. So just little tidbit about that. Other questions included 2 walkaways that participants had at the end of the 2 days, 2 wanderings that they left with, and then maybe just some things that they would benefit from for next time to give direction and advice and feedback. So I wanted to give you an update that form was completed. There were 126 responses as of today, and I'll be disseminating all that information and handing it back to building principals for their feedback as well. With that, I'll stand for questions.
Okay, any questions for Mrs. Langen?
Trustee Manning, I have a question. So with some of the feedback that you got, what was the most common takeaway, or what?
Thank
What do you think
you.
it was?
Chairman Manning, Vice Chairman Pacina, to be honest, I haven't really looked at percentages because they were short answer form and there were 126 of them. As I peered and perused through them, There was great feedback about our time with Dr. Ray, who was our speaker that came in and facilitated response to intervention. There was feedback about PBIS, a few wonderings about its implementation, as well as the appreciation of clarity that was offered. There was also some, again, without being specific, but general feedback for the time that they had in their building. I did see a few comments about staff's want, I guess, or interest in starting off Institute as an entire district. So typically in Summer Institute, we gather everyone up and then they peel off to their particular sessions. We didn't do that this year because the auditorium was, the stage was being used. So we had already been sort of beaten to the reservation, or we would have started out that way. That was actually the original schedule, that we would start with a general presentation from Dr. Ray and then break out into sessions, but the stage wasn't available, so we just got right to it. But those were just a few comments, but I would be happy to report back general themes once I'm able to take a deeper dive. I just closed their survey today,
Okay,
so yeah.
thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Any other questions for Ms. Langen? Mr. Robinson, you've been quiet this evening.
Very quiet.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Superintendent evaluation, the next item, E, Dr. French.
Yeah, Chairman Manning and trustees, it's just a reminder to have you schedule a time when you would want to complete the superintendent evaluation. Also to let you know that you should have received in your inbox today, your Caldwell School District inbox, an email from the CEE 360 survey. So that's feedback to me through a survey.
Okay.
And you all need to do it. You all need to do that so that there's anonymity in the group. Does that
True.
make sense? Okay, but it does give me feedback that, and it helps me to set goals. But this was on here just to remind you that this would be something that would be really good to do.
Get it done.
Okay, thank you.
For the
Mhm.
reminder, that's
Mhm.
great.
Let's have it done before July.
Okay,
Awesome.
Okay,
any further comments or questions about the superintendent evaluation? Okay, information,
Chairman Manning, would we would
Vice
just
Chair.
like request, like to add a executive
Session.
meeting? Yeah, executive session on one of the meetings.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Okay. Any other comments or questions about this agenda item E? Moving on to future agenda items, any trustees have any ideas for future agenda items?
Mr. Chairman.
Or Chair, Mr. Chair,
Well, that's you.
Trustee Butler.
I don't know if I should bring this up now, or later, but it has to do with one of the policies, the policy on AI. And I just thought it would be really good if we were able to have some kind of presentation or information at a board work session, for us, to give us information to be able to make that policy. So.
Yeah.
And Chairman Manning, that is policy 8705, generative artificial intelligence.
I'll be the second trustee that says, yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, so let's just have it for a future meeting.
Chairman Manning, do you want that in a work session, at a regular board meeting?
Seems like that'd be a work session kind of thing.
Okay, we have a light agenda for February. I think we only had the one presentation from Idaho Power. So,
Yeah.
okay, I think that would give us time
Fair
to
enough,
look
somebody.
at generative AI. I'm looking at Mr. Shore, Dr. Farrell would probably want to be there, and then we have some I would say high school teachers who are and teachers using AI. So, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Make sure that goes on the February work session. Okay.
Any other future agenda items from the trustees? I had one. I think it would be nice sometime in the next few months for us to hear an explanation for the plan for how this facility, the Fillmore Building and the annex next to us will be used, like specifically with Canyon Springs High School and like, you know, how they're going to organize, you know, like what's the space going to be? What spaces are the, you know, the classroom is going to be? How are they going to, you know, utilize the space? And you know, do they have is the facility going to be ready? Like, you know, the planning for that space, for example, this room, what is this room going to turn into? And is there a plan to, and do we have the resources available to make sure that, you know, the facility is up and ready to go? Because I know we have the bids out for I think it's what the sprinkler system, the fire alarm sound system or something. But what about everything else? Is the facility going to be ready? And how is it going to be utilized? Because I know it's a big thing to, you know, this hasn't been a school for decades. This building here on Fillmore Street, the old Washington Elementary. And so my thought is how can we just want to make sure that it's, you know, ready to go. And that's just my thought. Yeah, report sometime in the next few months. Any other possible agenda items by the trustees? If not, we will move to policy development and adoption. And the board may take action to approve, deny, amend, modify, or postpone action on any of the items listed below. Request to rescind is the first component of that. The board will need to make a motion to accept and approve the request and rescind policies. Any discussion or any motions for the policies to be rescinded?
Chairman Manning and trustees, just so that you know what, in case you have questions for me, policy 927. The excision, and I hope I just said that right. That is just an odd word, and annexation of territory. This is covered by state law 33308. And it is a very old policy that I don't know we've ever really looked at it. So we felt like if we just could use the Idaho code, if we should ever annex or excise any part of our territory, that's just, okay. And that was a ask to rescind. Policy 950, the prohibition against smoking. We replaced that with 5310, the tobacco-free workplace, and 3305 prohibition of tobacco, nicotine, possession, and use. And then policy 3210, name and gender change. This is now out of, well, sorry, I need to change my words. This is out of compliance with Idaho Code 675909B, current legislation. And then policy 10030, the Golden Activity Pass. The goal is to replace that with policy 4190, the Golden Activity Pass.
Okay. I really want to use the word amputated right now. Because you used the word amputated. Talking about excising things and removing. All right, do we have a motion to? That's my place. Yeah. Trustee Robertson.
I make motion to rescind policy 927, policy 950, policy 3210, and policy 10030.
Okay, motion by trustee Robertson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Trustee Butler with a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Errata revisions, Dr. French?
Yes, Chairman Manning, trustees, so policy 3000, entrance placement and transfer. We'd request is to change, there's a few changes there, but to also change the policy number to 3005 for consistency with ISBA numbering. And then policy 5325, employees' use of social media sites and communication platforms. The language was updated to include all employees and not just teachers. And you'll see that in red, so that they're minor changes.
Okay. Okay, any other comments, or questions, regarding errata revisions? So I'll take a motion to approve the errata revisions.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve and accept the errata revisions for policy 3000 and policy 5325.
Okay, thank you. A motion by trustee Butler. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Errata revisions have passed. First reading, Dr. French.
Yeah, Chairman Manning, trustees, so policy 2435, advanced opportunities. This was revised in such a way that we felt it needed to go back to a first reading because it is a change in practice. It would be a change in practice. So we would only be transcripting advanced opportunity credits that are through Caldwell High. We have transcripted for other school districts before. We won't do that. We won't be doing that. It's very time intensive. So just there was such a change. We felt like that needed to come back before the board. Then there's policy 3335, academic dishonesty. That would replace policy 539. And then policy 4190, the golden activity pass. We updated that to reflect what the board noticed last time. Should be all updated. And then policy 5325P, so it's a procedure that goes along with policy 5325, employee use of social media sites, including personal sites. And it was recommended by ISBA, so we are putting that before the board. And then it looks like okay, and then policy 8705, generative artificial intelligence. Now, if you want to have a discussion, I don't know if you want to table that one until after a discussion. We can wait and put it on a first reading for in March. I wasn't sure, but that's something that you'll need to consider. That is a new policy, but artificial intelligence is fairly new as well.
Okay, discussion about the first reading of any of the listed policies.
I had a question on, and just because I've had some patrons that have asked me, oh my gosh, it's frozen. Okay. And it is regarding policy 2435 with the advanced opportunities. I've had a couple people ask me and now I know the answer because I had to go read it, but I thought if we could maybe reword it, they wanted to know on the amount that is given to them, the 4,625. Some people have asked, okay, so is that, because they can start using it in middle school. They say, they can use 4,000 in middle school and then they can use it again in high school, replenish, yeah, for high school. And I'm like, no, I don't think, hold on, let me read it. And so it didn't really say that, but I know that it's just the one time for the student during their career of, middle school and high school. So I just thought, could we put a word in that says that, that is a total amount from the moment you start till you graduate? And I don't had read it a couple times and I don't know if I saw it in there or maybe I was trying to read too fast, but
I remember seeing the number in there.
yeah, I see the number, the amount, but
You're just saying you want a clarifying sentence in there that clarifies that it's total,
Yeah, total for their, from the
including high
moment
school.
that it is available to them until the moment that they graduate.
Well, and along with
That
that
makes sense.
same sort of thing on 5.10 on page 2, it mentions CHS and Canyon Springs. It says processing of advanced opportunity funds shall be limited to two students of Caldwell High School and Canyon Springs High School. The district will not transcript credits for students attending high school outside the district. But then I would note that back on 5.2, it talks about how students can access the funds in grades 7 through 12. And so technically Syringa Middle School, I think, would be part of that as well. So if that is the case, maybe we should revise that to allow for credits because it's 7 through, that'll be Syringa, which is 7 right now, or 7th and 8th grade middle.
Well, okay. And it might separate them it might separate it,
Yes.
but and sometimes it's like, well, what does that mean? But if they,
So Chairman Manning, trustees, when it comes to transcripted credit, that is a high school transcript. So a student at Syringa who's taking advanced courses, if it's a course that's a high school course, the high school will transcript that course. If it's a 7th grader who's taking maybe a non-high school class, but it's an advanced opportunity that they're eligible for, if it's a high school class, Caldwell High will transcript it. I'm trying to think, that's really what a 7th grader going into their 8th grade year could take something, it's like health, and earn a high school credit for that. And so we can be, we wanted to make sure that people understood that we were not going to transcript credits for other school districts,
right.
which is what we were doing.
How did
Would
that
that
work?
be?
It didn't work very well.
Like what would?
So like, how many driver's ed?
It was driver's
Driver's
ed.
ed, okay, gotcha, yeah. But if a child was 15, gosh darn it, and in 8th grade, gosh darn it, but they were taking,
They probably wouldn't qualify.
Yeah. No, maybe
I was
not.
like, oh, we
Yeah.
have to be on track.
And they were on track, finally, and, but they could use that money, right? To do.
At Canyon Springs.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
At Canyon Springs or
Caldwell High.
in Syringa?
Well, at 15 in Syringa,
For whatever, maybe they were,
Maybe.
they came from a
Yes.
different, somewhere
seven
else.
through 12 they can use that.
Okay.
But it would be a high school transcript. It's not we wouldn't be transcripted on a Syringa report card. These
Right.
classes would be classes that a middle school person, a child or student is accessing that actually is a high school credit.
And we do have those, right?
We do. Health is probably one of the main ones that they take.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes it's a math. It can be a math credit.
Oh, okay.
And the $4,625, it is an allotment per child, every child in Idaho to use during their high school career.
So it's a one-time lot.
And that's
Yeah,
it.
No, if you are spending that much in a school year, that's impressive.
That's, yeah, you don't have to do it.
Because we only, we can only offer so much and they have to earn so many credits. So this is above and beyond a regular high school day.
And I think this parent had used some, they had used some in their middle school.
Yeah.
And then they
Okay.
just wanted to know, does it start at the 4,600, the high schoul? Okay.
It's for 7th grade through 12. I don't know if we've ever had anybody ask that question.
I know, I thought, let me read the policy. And then I thought, and I didn't see where it said specifically, but I just said, yeah, call Miss Wilson.
Yeah.
But.
So do we want to,
Can we table the AI? You want to table the AI?
well, let's stay with this one right here, 2435.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
do we want to keep this policy? Do we want to table it? Do we want to approve it? Do we want to approve it, with an amendment? What do you think, trustees?
My feeling and understanding from what you're asking would be a minor change and for clarification. And so I'd be fine with approving the first reading, knowing that it'll be slightly reworded for clarity purposes, not to change
Okay.
anything, but for clarity. Going
Okay.
into a second.
And we do have your notes, and I'm looking also, the policy references the Idaho code, so I just want to make sure in Idaho code that it's clear there. If you're not quite sure, we'll make sure we copy, or we will repeat what Idaho code shares.
And can we have, when the policy is, if we approve this on the second read, any changes, maybe underlined or all capped or something, just so we can, it's easier to
Yeah.
parse together, like, okay, these were the edits, this was the revision, this what was added, or this is what was removed, a strike through for anything that was removed, and maybe either underline or all caps for something that was added. I would say color, but some of us are sort of colorblind, and I don't know if that's.
Sure, we can do an all caps. I think when we've made some other changes, we put it in purple, but we can make it all caps
Yeah.
for the changes from,
And it would stand out.
I do believe it's in red now, and then you do have a strike through. But we can work on that.
Okay, first reading, any other policies that trustees would like to discuss? How about policy 3335, academic dishonesty? Does anyone have anything they would like to discuss with that policy?
It's pretty clear.
The only thing that I thought about, it does mention AI down in the policy, but at the very top of the policy, it in 1.1, it sort of talks about other concepts. But I wonder if we could just add a simple phrase in 1.1 along with the list of the other I'm just looking at trying to find the heading here. Oh, academic dishonesty includes, and then it lists a number of things. And I wonder if we can just add the phrase misusing AI into that list in 1.1.
I thought that our committee, so in 1.4B is that the committee felt they had addressed the AI in 1.4B.
I'm reading this just in 1.1. It does say downloading information from other sources and presenting it as one's own. So I mean, that would kind of fall into that category.
Yeah, just AI is so expansive. And it does mention AI in 1.4B, it mentions AI 1.4H, it mentions AI 1.5, maybe it doesn't. So those are the two. But because AI is so prevalent, and we'll be dealing with it for decades to come, how do you best use it? I just thought having its own little comma, like its own little clarifier, its own little clarifier.
Did you?
Not even its own little
Get that
number. It
down?
could be squished in with 1.1. And I thought of, should I say misusing AI tools, apps, software, hardware, all that? Just, I don't even think, I mean, AI is so expensive. I just thought if we added in misusing AI as one of the little tiny subcategories, it just sets up, my thought is it sets up the other components of the policy, sort of front loads it with, okay, this is one of the issues we haven't forgotten. It is, this is, I don't know. That's my thought.
We're taking notes and we'll make sure we can. So it has its own little, well, it's not, it has it in, but here it has a comma, it has an emphasis on it, right? I was,
Its own comma, that would be beautiful. Just
something up there.
tuck that little phrase right into the,
Right up there. Okay,
paragraph.
we'll do that. We can, that can be done. It just like, as in 1.4B, we do talk about the unauthorized use of AI. There's so many great things that can be done with AI, but you have to make sure that you understand that you are submitting your own work. So
yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah, there's a time to use the different components and parts and pieces of types of AI, yeah. Anyone else have any comments about policy 3335? How about policy 4190? None. Policy 5325P. I had a question about regarding policy 5325P. Under the section called contact with students. I'm just going to read it. Pursuant to the Code of Ethics for Idaho professional educators, individuals shall maintain a professional relationship with all students, both inside and outside the classroom, in order to avoid the appearance of partiality or impropriety. All electronic communication with students should be through the official district email or work phone.
Oh, yes. Did you see that? We just need.
Do
sure
not
we
list
can-
current students as friends on social media sites. Do not give students your personal email addresses or phone number, and do not text students. So for example, back to that phrase, do not list current, students, blah, blah, blah. Oh, in order to avoid the appearance of partiality or impropriety, all electronic communications with students should be through the official district email or work phone. And I don't know if are any of you using the Band app?
Yes.
So as I read it, the Band app, according to this policy, if we were to pass it, would not be approved use of, because we would be requiring students and faculty to work through the official district email or work phone. Am I assuming that?
I'm Chairman Manning. I'm not quite sure what app you're talking about. We use Dojo, but it's been approved in it. Everything has to have a protect the students PII. It can't
So the
be,
Band app so the Caldwell High uses it and it is slick. And so it's dozens of different sports teams and activities at Caldwell High use it as a platform for coaches and kids and parents to all communicate on the same. So you become like, for example, I'm on the Band app for tennis, the tennis Band app piece.
yeah,
And it's just a little corner of the app that the tennis coaches and students and parents are on there. And so all the communication is open. It happens through that app, but it doesn't happen. So that's not through the official district email or work phone. So I'm just wondering if we somehow can make an allowance for things like the Band app.
well, actually, we do have a technology policy and those apps have to be pre-approved before they can be used. And right now I'm not aware of this app. So I don't believe it's gone through our approval process. We will need to probably look into that. We have been very strict about not getting into some of these apps. I appreciate like Remind, but they don't protect personal identifying information and they don't protect individual sharing inappropriately. So the apps that have been approved are Dojo to communicate with parents, and that's basically the app, that and or through district email, from your district email to a parent. So those, I'm looking at Mr. Shore, Google Classroom. But the Band app is, that is not on our approved list of applications that people can use. So we're gonna have to look into that one.
Because we've been using that for a long time.
Yeah, there's a lot of organizations that have been using it.
All the sports and.
Extracurricular activities.
Mhm. Well,
Some of the
Music,
some of the-
that's great. Sure hope it meets all of the requirements for PII. And the Idaho code.
Yeah, I know that, well, from what, how I use it and things like that, I can only talk to the coaches. I could read what some of the comments are, but I can't talk to anybody in the comments. I just read what the coaches say, and I can read the comments, but I'm like, hey, has anybody seen my kid? And, and everybody will read it. And,
Yes, we will be happy to look into that to make sure that it,
Mhm.
as Idaho has some really strict code or language in regards to student data and information and sharing. And then the
Mhm.
Idaho, the code of ethics for Idaho professional educators is also very,
Tight.
yes, it is, because people,
Mhm.
we don't want anyone getting into a situation,
Mhm.
right? So we'll look into that. I was not aware.
My perspective, I like the band app.
Good.
Because it provides, when you're like, the coach is like, okay, we had to switch practice to this time for whatever reason. Boom, everyone knows about it, including parent, whoever signed on to that little, that little group, I guess.
Well, that would be, as we look into it, Mr. Shore, myself, and Tamara Lawson, we have met with a couple different, with the Power School vendors to look at a better way to communicate at the secondary level that would protect student information, that also that can be, we can monitor. So like right now, if there's a situation that's happening in Dojo, we have the capacity to monitor those conversations and pull those for investigatory purposes. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's just, we just need to make sure that it meets the requirements we set out. There you go.
Yeah,
I'm glad they like it. I hope it really, I'm just hoping it's gonna work. for
Yeah,
everybody.
functionally, I think it works really super well, but you don't want to talk to the admin, I guess, at CHS and because they use it extensively and their staff use it extensively.
Mhm. I'm sure Mr. Howard could take you on the trip.
He knows a lot about it.
Mhm.
But Mr. Chair, I think kind of what you're saying too is there probably should be some kind of phrase in there saying district approved sources. Besides just email and work phone, where there are
Yeah.
district approved devices or apps or.
So this is under
contacts or
contact
whatever.
with students.
Because the technology is so good now, I think that,
But
But
that's.
as long as it's specified, yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
Maybe
section
not
we need to-
listed out, but
We
just,
need to be approved apps,
yeah,
approved communication tools.
yeah, something to that effect.
Whatever.
It should only be the work phone, not necessarily, we could take out the word your work phone, just work phone. It does protect everyone. Okay, I appreciate that.
I wonder if we should consider tabling this one. Or sending it back to the policy committee, because this may be a larger discussion. For the administration to see if it functionally meets the policy requirements, other policy and legal requirements.
Well, this would meet the requirements. What it is people have to follow the policy, which we'll need to make sure that people are using apps that meet that threshold of meeting the state law.
Okay, we
Makes
have
sense.
I'll take any kind of motion. But,
I don't even.
We haven't
know
even
where
gotten to the
we're at.
last one.
oh, that's true. That's true. I'm jumping the gun here. We're still on the first read of the other policy. Thank you, trustee Butler.
So if 8705 for
Thank
the
you.
generative.
Any comments on 8705?
I guess my concern was just wanting more information about it before proceeding. However, since it is only the first reading, I do feel comfortable with the policy committee and what they've done, knowing that it may get hold at a second reading later on or kick back to a first reading later on, but
Okay.
that was my concern.
Yeah, any other comments about policy 8705 generative AI? I had a comment. I just was thinking about, on page 1.3. C, 1.3 C, kind of there in the middle. And this is a section, staff shall not use any of the following prompts for an AI tool or otherwise upload the following to an AI tool unless the superintendent designee provides specific permission to do so. A, personal identifiable information, B, sensitive or confidential student or personnel records, or C, any copyrighted material. And then the sentence that follows it, I was trying to grapple with in my mind with how that connects with copyrighted material. So again, this is 1.3 C, any copyrighted material. Staff shall not use AI tools to determine a student's grade on any project, including but not limited to any grade, which includes a subjective component. And I'm wondering how that is connected to, there's dissonance in my brain thinking, okay, is that copyrighted material? We're talking about a student's grade on a project, which includes subjective components. Like, I don't know. It's worded kind of weird. Maybe it needs to be its own section. Maybe C should be any copyrighted material, and then the sentence after it should be its own section or something. 1.3 C. It's kind of in the middle. Policy 8705. I know as a teacher myself that there are uses for AI to scan and screen student writing, student research, student products, in lots of different academic areas. There are a number of AI tools that can be used to help guide a teacher's understanding and streamline the process of examining student work. Is it used to determine exclusively a student's grade, or is that, just a partial, component of what a teacher should do? Is it part of a subjective component? My experience has been that it can be helpful, but AI is not perfect. And so you still have to, in all of its uses that I've done, and that's not been a ton, but certain components of AI I've used more than others over the last year or so. And it's still, I'm still learning how to use it as well, but it's not perfect. There are not glitches, but just imperfections. The output is only as good as the input. And so, AI is based on a lot of different things, algorithms, mathematical algorithms, and a whole lot of other stuff that I don't really know about, but I'm just unsure about C, the copyrighted materials, and then the other piece about determining a student's grade.
So, Chairman Manning, trustees, what we would want our staff, our teacher to read the student work. So to copy it, paste it into AI and ask AI to give it a grade or something to that would be inappropriate. We would expect that the teacher has created a rubric, which they could create using AI. These are the components they're looking for. What does that look like? But to take a student's work, copy, paste it into AI, and then generate a grade based on whatever that may look like. We expect that teachers will, if they give an assignment, they'll have a rubric that goes with that, and that they will monitor that, and not generative AI, but they will give that grade to that student.
Yeah, there are so many uses of AI. Like you can plug in the rubric and it will, examine a piece of writing based on the rubric that you put in. And so, yeah, there are just lots of considerations, I guess.
Yeah, Chairman Manning, in another organization that I belong to, there was some surveys that were requested out of some of the employees. And, this, people are like, this sounds like this to me, and others, this sounds like this to me. And they plugged AI in, and AI was like, their tone, their this. I was like, wow. And I mean, the words that they use, the tone, it was, to me, I thought, and it was boom, instant. And I thought, well, I'd rather talk to, like, what is their opinion? What's their opinion? Because yeah, not a computerized opinion, because I think AI takes a lot of humanity out of these, so. And I could maybe use it as a questioning tool, like, were you meaning this, or is this what you were meaning? To ask them the questions, to give me a tool like, okay, what can I ask them? And then face to face, but I was very, very, like, wow, blown away at how quick it can answer. It can read something and tell you, this is what this person is. And I thought, oh, I don't know about that. But
Kind of crazy.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it gives you a tool.
extremely powerful tool,
Mhm,
yeah, that we're
mhm.
still learning to use.
Yeah.
Any other comments with policy 8705? Do we want to put this on the back burner until we have more discussion, maybe as a board about this?
I would like to put it on the back burner, and, and maybe these are some of the answers, or
What are we doing?
the AI one. That one, the 8705, that maybe we can come back to it after we have a presentation from those folks that, like, Dr. Farrell, maybe?
Okay, so are we sending this back to the policy committee? Is that do we have a motion for that? Is that-
What are well, we usually send it back when there's a change. Like there's something you don't like about it. I don't know what that is at this point.
We're just thinking about just tabling it for now, right?
Or maybe
We're not
tabling it,
sending
yeah.
it back. We're just tabling
Mhm.
it until we
Okay.
get more information.
Okay. So I need to write
If
this
there's a
down.
motion for that.
Should there perchance be a motion?
Okay,
Do we
so.
have a motion
we-
to table policy 8705?
Okay,
That's
Chairman Manning, I would like to make a motion on these first readings, if we could table, policy 8705, generative artificial intelligence.
It's a separate motion, then. Okay. So we'll table that policy. Do we have a second for that motion?
I second the motion.
Okay, Vice Chair Pacino with a motion to table and seconded by Trustee Robertson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. So 8705, we'll table that for further discussion. I'll take a motion to approve. Just double check here.
Or,
I almost wonder if we should consider tabling policy 5325P. Because of the band app situation.
Is that, okay, I just don't see how that policy is not.
I think, if I may, Chairman Manning.
Because I
Sure.
just,
Okay, so on this one, would you be able, Dr. French, to check with the folks that are using the band app and see if it is something, or
well, Chairman Manning and Vice Chair Pacina, what we do is we'll go through the app itself, its statements, what they do, it's a review of it, how they protect student information.
Mhm.
If they don't meet our criteria or the state code, then it can't be used. That's just how it has to be an approved district app, which we have several some software that we use. There's software that is not allowed in the district. And we'll have to go through it. I'm not sure if that policy is stating that we just have to protect PII. Students'
Mhm,
personal
right.
identifying
Mhm.
information and then making sure the communication is that people are not crossing that boundary, that line between personal and professional boundaries.
Okay, so where was the wording that I know that I had heard one of the trustees say, could we add this wording to it? But I think the wording that was in the policy was if that band app is okay, according to what we have right here, then we would be okay. But where was the wording? Do you remember?
Right in the, yeah, it's right in the middle of the
Contact with
first
students?
page, contact
Okay.
with students.
Okay,
The district email or work phone, but if we add in something that says, or district approved communication, whatever,
Tool.
cool,
or
yeah,
something.
because that would then cover the, what's it called?
Band app.
No, not the
Well,
band app, the other one that we do
Dojo.
now use.
so
the
Dojo,
that's-
is it covered in this?
Should be, yes.
In
But not as it's
official?
stated now.
No, we don't, it's not listed because some apps will change over time. So this is a broad policy,
Right.
but it's on our list of approved vendors and approved software we can use, approved apps we use. So technology
Yeah.
has made it available to all teachers. Thank you to Dr. Farrow and Caleb and all those folks who went through all of those, what people were using. And then did the minimum expectation requirement in alignment with state code. So that is available to teachers and administrators to know what can be used. And
Where
we
does
have.
it tell me here
Yeah.
that I can use Dojo?
It does.
Because
It's internal. It's an internal communication with staff and administrators. These are the approved applications you can use.
Okay.
So, and a
Where does it
principal
say on
may
the
bring
policy?
the policy is broad
Okay.
because apps change a lot. So we
Okay.
don't want to write them all down in a
If band
policy.
app is okay, then we're okay with this.
It will go on our approved list.
Okay. And that'll
Sent
be,
to administrators and teachers.
got it. Okay, okay.
If it is not on the
Mhm.
approved list that goes out to administrators and teachers,
Mhm.
then they can bring it forward and say, hey, we would like to use this.
Okay.
Then it'll go through
Mhm.
we'll look at all of the fine print that you all agree to when you click, I agree.
Mhm.
So we actually go through the fine print. Thank you,
Mhm.
Dr. Farrow and Mr. Shore,
Mhm.
to see what that is. And then it will go on the list that is sent to principals and teachers.
Okay, so we don't need to put on here any district approved. What was it, the
No.
word that we were saying?
Yeah, well, just because this does state as phone or email as the only way.
Okay,
And so if we could just add in the phrase or district approved tool.
cool.
So that
Okay.
way, then
I
they
think
can
that's
reference
we
that
could-
list or.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think I would feel comfortable approving it if we would just add those words.
Take out.
Your-
Okay,
The district
email,
your, work phone,
Work
not
phone.
your,
work phone.
and district approved tool.
Cool.
Yeah, district
Thank you.
approved, yeah, I think that would cover it.
It does change rapidly, although I
Oh,
will
yeah.
say to Dojo, they've done a great job.
Mhm.
Yeah. They continue to be something you can trust to
Mhm.
communicate with parents.
I like
So,
it. Okay. Okay, so this one.
thank you.
We will,
Did you get that?
So I guess, yeah, in that sentence then, in order to avoid the appearance of partiality or impropriety, all electronic communications with students should be through the official district email.
work phone,
Your work phone,
not your,
Work.
phone.
your district email, work phone, or district approved tool.
Communication tool. District approved communication tool.
Okay.
I think Jessica's got it, right? Okay. Okay, so there's that. Huh?
Any further clarifications on any of the policies up for first reading?
On that one had, AI and it's separate, okay. And then the golden, okay. I'm ready to make a motion, Chairman Manning. And I might not do them in numerical order, but I'm gonna do it in what's easy for me.
Vice Chair Pacino.
Okay, so I make a motion to approve policy 4190, the Golden Activity Pass as written. And then I would like to make a motion to approve policy 2435, advanced opportunities with the changes, the slight changes made. And just so that, are we clear on what those slight changes were gonna be? On 2435. You got them, okay. And then a motion to approve policy 3335, academic dishonesty with the slight changes that we had suggested, the ones with the AI, yeah, all in its own little section. And then also procedure 5325P, recommended practices for use of social media sites with the slight changes made, dropping the your in where the contact with students, where it says your work phone, dropping the your, and then adding the change about approved district communication tools.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the first reading policies?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So there are no second and final reading of any policies at this time. Information only. February is a celebration of Black History. February is Love the Bus Month. February 12th, 2025, Tools of the Mind, preschool and kindergarten teacher training. So that's coming up. February 14th, this Friday, Valentine's Day, February 17th, President's Day, no school for students. It's also ISBA Day on the Hill. Ms. Watts, do you need any clarification from the trustees on who was attending Day on the Hill?
You guys registered who are just attending one day.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going.
We're all registered.
You go to trustee Bonnett, no? Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Yeah, and I
you.
believe trustee Godina and myself are doing the Monday.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Great. February 18th, 7th, annual Trio Day celebration at Caldwell High, 5 to 7 p.m. February 24th, board work session at Jefferson Middle School, school tour at 5:30. So the meeting starts at 6. February 28th, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council Gala fundraiser at the College of Idaho, Simplot Dining Hall, from 6 to 10 p.m. And I know we had 2 tables, I believe, last time. Do we want to do 2 tables again this time? Thoughts?
Chairman Manning and trustees, so Ms. Watts is taking your RSVP, so she knows how many tables to order. And it probably will end up being 2. We just want to make sure they're full. Well, not everyone has RSVP'd or has let us know if they're going, so.
Yeah. Okay.
You need an answer by this week? Yeah. Would you reach out to all of us, individually and just say, I need to know now? I had a question. Would we be willing to donate a basket for their auction?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're on it.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Okay, that's great. Okay. Sounds good.
So great. It's a great organization and, just great to see our, I like it for tons of reasons, but kids from all different high schools in Caldwell area get to, work together, rub shoulders together, and they get to serve with each other and do so in meaningful ways. And it's just such a great program.
And it's different school districts too, isn't it? I mean, it's not just Caldwell, like Valley.
Yeah.
Vicinity and- Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
charter
great.
schools do it.
Mhm.
They've got students there and so it's great. Okay, that is the informational portion of our meeting. Now we move on to the executive session piece. The board must take action to go into executive session. And I will ask for a motion to enter into executive session.
Okay, Chairman Manning, I would like to make a motion to enter into executive session as per Idaho Code 74-206, 1 subsection B, to consider the evaluation, dismissal or discipline of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, individual agent, or public school student. Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do I have a second? Second, trustee Robertson. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Trish Robertson. Trustee Manuel Godina. Chairman Travis Manning,
Yes.
Vice Chair Maricela Pacina.
Yes.
Trustee Andrew Butler.
Yes.
Okay, I will say that I should have mentioned this earlier, but trustee Godina asked to be excused from tonight's meeting, so FYI, he's not AWOL. He had another thing that he had to attend, so we are now in executive session. Okay, we are resuming into regular session after an executive session. Vice Chair Pacina.
Yes, sir. After listening to the information provided by the district during executive session, our decision regarding Idaho Code 74-206 1B to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, individual agent, or public school student is information only.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by trustee Butler, second by Vice Chair Pacina. Any further discussion? All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?